Thanks very much, and hello everybody. It's great to be here. From Durham to Greater Manchester, from Herefordshire to East Kent, the 16 Great Place projects have provided a myriad of opportunities for collaboration between culture and heritage sector partners, many of them represented here, but more importantly with others outside of our regular spheres of engagement, so from health, education and from business, for example. And I'm really delighted to be here today to celebrate the extraordinary achievements of Pioneering Places East Kent. In planning the policy, funding and delivery context of Great Place, none of us could have predicted that there would be a landscape of COVID-19, the global and local impact of that, and the need for really strong cross-sector collaboration. But despite this, the Great Places scheme has built bridges and connections between people, organisations and communities and places, leading to a more diverse, contemporary and inclusive sector and the people and places that we work with and in. It was launched originally as a response to the 2016 Culture White Paper and heralded in the 2017 Heritage Statement. As I said, 16 awards were made across England, targeted at places where there were fairly high levels of socio-economic deprivation, but a real opportunity to strengthen cultural activity. And as has already been mentioned, Pioneering Places is the joint largest of the Great Place schemes. Uniquely, Pioneering Places is the only one of the Great Place schemes included activity across 3 towns, a city and 5 local authorities. So all 4 of these places were identified as Priority 1 areas in the recent Levelling Up Fund prospectus, including 3 coastal towns, one with significant challenges. As DCMS now prepares its updated heritage statement for the first time since 2017, this is an opportune time to reflect on how the Great Place scheme in general, and Pioneering Places in particular, helped delivering on the outcomes that were set out when we launched this 4 years ago. Great Place schemes have partnerships at their heart, with the scheme marking the first formal joint funding initiative between the Arts Council England and the National Lottery Heritage Fund, and also, of course, with advice and commitment from the Historic England. Pioneering Places was itself formed as a partnership between 3 major arts organisations, Creative Folkestone, the Marlow Theatre and Turner Contemporary, working together and, as has been mentioned, with the Land Trust. So collaboration in all of this is key. The importance of collaboration comes from the fact that places and their uses are important to different people in different ways. So a long-term improvement in the way a place is viewed or sustainable economic growth following the impact of COVID is less likely to happen if an improvement project views it solely through the lens of heritage or solely through the lens of economic activity or indeed cultural engagement. Pioneering Places addressed the challenges of 4 very different heritage sites, and each place represented a different challenge. Some were long forgotten and derelict brownfield sites, others just lacked visibility and footfall, while some had never really been open to the public. And in every case there was clearly some sense of market failure, but also a real opportunity to unlock social and economic value from the sites and attract new interest and investment in heritage in the local area. The 2017 Heritage Statement recognised that young people have long been underrepresented in the heritage sector and that they should therefore form a substantial part of the people shaping, engaging with and benefiting from heritage. And I think it's a real testament to the Pioneering Places team that young people have informed and actively engaged in all 4 of the projects and really made a difference, not from all across the different elements of education, from primary schools to FE and HE. For example, in Ramsgate, primary school children were empowered to act as young heritage and arts leaders, while in Canterbury, 2,000 young people and more than 1,500 school children have taken part in a workshop activity at the Marlow Kit. Dover saw children benefiting from the scheduled ancient monument, the 19th century Fort Burgoyne, as a learning resource, while in Folkestone, primary children work with architects, planners and engineers to directly influence future visions for potential uses of the former gasworks site. And I think Pioneering Places has also shown what can be achieved when cultural organisations work with local authority partners to help regenerate and revitalise heritage sites, from disused brownfields to scheduled ancient monuments and heritage action zones. The role of heritage and culture and the importance of developing and supporting cultural infrastructure across every town and city should be as fundamental a part of local plans and plannings as any other type of local infrastructure. Sadly, it isn't always, but we would really love to see it being embedded in the way that it has been within these Great Place schemes. We welcome the government's recognition of the vital contribution that we can make to the levelling up, in that heritage and culture were identified as priority pillars in the first round of both the Levelling Up Fund and the Community Renewal Fund. And we hope that this continues into subsequent rounds, as well as the forthcoming Shared Prosperity Fund. We all know that culture and heritage can be a force for good, and that has an essential role to play in making communities better places to live, creating economic prosperity and supporting personal well-being, contributing to local identities and pride of place, and we reflect that in our recently focused grants for heritage. The place-based approach that's been taken by the Place scheme has gone beyond cultural engagement by nurturing long-term cross-sectoral partnerships benefiting people and places. I was saying to somebody earlier that this is probably the only programme I can think of where people approach me after the original allocation had been made to say, we applied, we weren't successful, but actually just the fact that we were making that application enabled us to get people round the table in a room to talk about how we should work together more effectively, and we benefited from that process. So it forced people in places to talk to people they hadn't talked to before, and to really think across different organisations about how culture could be brought in and heritage could be brought into those plans. And people felt that they'd had a real benefit. So think how much more of a benefit it was for those that actually were successful in their funding applications. I think the Great Place scheme has enabled cultural and heritage organisations to make a step change in how they work together and with other organisations in the sector, in order that arts, heritage and culture contribute more to meeting local social and economic objectives. And the real legacy is in the partnerships and the relationships that have been developed, which are strengthening communities and creating capacity and capabilities to continue to build on these successes. Thank you.